Okay, let's go ahead and get started with the agenda for the West Haymarket Joint Public Agency for today. My name is Chris Beitler. I'm one of the three members of the Joint Agency Board, and along with me here today is Regent Tim Clare and Councilman Carl Eskridge. Gentlemen, do you have any preliminary comments? No. Okay, I would note for everybody who's attending that the open meetings law is posted by the door in the back of the room. We give individuals normally a total of 5 minutes to speak on specific items that are listed on the agenda. And we only ask that those testifying identify themselves for the official record. With that, let's kind of wade into our agenda here. Agenda item number 3 is the approval of the minutes for the JPA meeting held September 17th, 2015. I hear a motion for approval of the minutes. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, call the roll.
Beitler,
Yes.
Eskridge,
Yes.
Claire,
Yes.
The minutes stand approved. Agenda item number 4 is approval of the September 2015 payment register. And that subject will be introduced to us by Steve Hubka.
For the month of September, we have a pretty small payment register. Operating budget, there was $737,610, of which the vast majority of that was the operational increment that you approved at the last meeting, as well as the maintenance items. And those actually show up on the September register, but on the financial statements, those were as of August 31st. So those will be reflected in the August 31st financial statements. Then down on the Phase 1 budget, the vast majority of that is various environmental types of expenditures. So that is the payment register for the month of September. I might just point out one other thing while we're talking about fiscal matters here, is that we ended up the year with our occupation tax collections at a 7.25% increase over the prior year. They ended up at $15.4 million, which is a number that's between the 2024 and 2025 projections that we presented to the state. So we're roughly 10 years ahead on our collection rate. And first month of the new fiscal year was right in line with the last fiscal year total. It was up 7.31% over the same month the prior year. So
And did we budget 2? For budget purposes, we budgeted 2.
2% growth, yes. So we've had several years now where we've exceeded significantly the projections.
Great.
Yeah.
Good to hear, Steve. Any questions of Steve, or? Okay. Is there public comment on agenda item number 4?
Jane Kinsey with Watchdogs. I'm wondering about credit card bank fees. What exactly is that?
Steve, could you reply to that for us, please?
That is paying credit card fees for people that paid for their premium seating renewals with credit cards.
Okay, so most of it is done by credit card?
Not most of it, some of it.
Oh, okay. Is it on the other side, is that the same thing?
The other side.
Well, city treasurer, it says credit card fees. Is that where you, well, you tell me.
Yeah, that would be for the premium seating payments.
Okay, the same thing, it's the
Yes,
same thing
yes.
then? Oh, but it's less.
Well, I'm not sure what you're looking at.
Yours looks different than mine.
I didn't take the whole thing.
Well, that's the
That's
that's a
five.
budgeted number. That's not the actual one.
Oh, okay, and the actual number is 21.
29.74.
78, 74, okay. And Campbell's Nursery is doing the mowing?
I think they have the contract for some of the maintenance of the landscaping.
About in the Haymarket or just the arena?
I think it might be the festival space,
The what?
festival space, parking lot.
Oh,
Arena
okay.
Drive, isn't it, too?
I would like to point,
What's that? Okay, weed mowing at the older property, I'm sorry.
okay. I would like to point out to the public that Mr. Campbell is a big promoter of the Pinnacle Bank Arena and of the 2015 vision, and therefore he's making money for his company off of this also. While not illegal, Watchdogs questions whether it's ethical or not.
Okay, thank you, Jane. Any further public comment? Seeing none, is there a motion for approval of the payment registers?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Further comment? Call the roll.
Beitler,
Yes,
Eskridge, Claire,
Yes.
they are approved. Agenda item number 5, review of the expenditure reports. Again, Steve Hopko will lead us through that.
Yes, we have the first document there is for the operating budget. Since that's only 1 month into the fiscal year, there's very little has been expended out of that budget at this point. And then project budgets have been updated, so they reflect the latest amendments to the budget and are all within budget.
Okay. Questions on the budget?
I've got one. Steve, the 5643, $410,000 1 month in, is that a quarterly payment? Is that why that's high?
That's a monthly payment for parking services.
But it's almost a quarter of the total budget, so why would it be?
That's a good question.
Okay.
Mark, you have an estimate?
I think that was the payment to SMG for.
Can you come forward and speak into the microphones? Identify yourself for the record. We know who you are, but
Mark Lycum, City Finance. I believe that was a quarterly payment that we made to SMG for pouring rights. And let me see if that shows on the payment register. Must have been in October. Yeah, I believe that was a payment to SMG that would have been paid out of there. It's not parking management. Those would have been the line items below. We haven't paid anything for that yet.
okay. Additional questions? Okay, thank you. Is there public comment on agenda item number 5? Seeing none, we'll move on to agenda item number 6, Resolution WH 1520, dealing with environmental provisions in the previous agreements. Mr. Peo.
This resolution is really to adopt what I would call technical amendments to the redevelopment agreement. As you may recall, it was a three-party agreement between the city, JPA, and TDB Phase 3. This amendment,
Which is the Huddle property.
which is the Huddle property, the environmental provisions are being amended, and a new environmental covenant is being introduced to be attached to the agreement, because we're going to have this environmental covenant placed on the record against the property after closing instead of pre-closing. So the JPA won't be the owner of the property to subject it to the covenant. We had to revise the agreement to reverse the roles of the two parties. the use of right-of-way and hold harmless agreement is really just between the City of Lincoln and TDB Phase 3. It's primarily for the footing foundations. Initially, they were asking for an encroachment of 2 feet. Further design revealed that it would be just a few inches, so we've reduced that down to 1 foot with the agreement that will come back after as-built drawings are built to even shrink it down to the actual encroachment. LES and DEC also wanted a better document showing the location of their utilities in the alley on the to the west of the Huddle site, so that everybody, when they're looking at doing any excavation work to access utilities, knows where everybody's at. And so that's what this new agreement does, is that it provides some clarification as to how you access and conduct utility repair work, and identifies the location of those utilities more accurately. Like I said, it's primarily technical amendments.
Questions? Comments? Carl?
So, sorry, I will ask some questions sometimes, being new, that don't know. So, is this property capped, or does it need to be capped for environmental
The
purposes?
property's already capped, and that's,
Okay.
it's got a 3-foot cap at least as a minimum. The footings don't go very deep, and they don't go very wide, but they did, because we like to have people build on a 0 setback. They build right up to the property lines. They needed to encroach slightly into city right-of-way, so that was why the easement was being granted.
All right, thanks.
And this is only for the south half, correct? Or is this for the whole block?
No, it's right now, it's just for the Huddle side, which is the south
South
half of
half.
the block.
Okay.
Okay, is there public comment on this particular item?
Jane Kinsey with Watchdogs. So this is just a formality that was required by the Department of Environmental Quality,
Yeah,
that
we
they be
go,
included in it.
we go back and forth with the State Department because they have certain requirements that that they are responsible for, and we deal with them depending on the situation differently on different portions of the properties, but we nonetheless have to meet their requirements eventually and always. Is that accurate, Rick?
Yes, our remediation plan with environmental quality from the state required certain type of remedial actions to be taken, and then also has provisions as to activity and use restrictions as you go forward over time, so that you don't impair the work that was done. And that's why we put covenants against the property to prohibit certain activities from taking place. We previously have imposed these basically the same covenants under the redevelopment agreement in our approval process of this project. However, NDEQ has their own environmental covenant form that they want to be filled out and executed and filed a record as well. And so the environmental covenant that we're doing today accomplishes those tasks. But primarily it just says you can't use any water for drinking water that you might pump out as a well, and you can't penetrate the cap without doing certain activities to protect the work we've done.
Okay. So this, it's already been paid for in the $7.2 million that was set aside for the environmental.
I think all the work in this area has been completed, yes.
Okay. So you've spent $5 million, right? According to what was in the newspaper. And there's still diesel, flow, plume, whatever you want to call it, there. Are you feeling that this is going to be a big job still? Are you downplaying it? Where do you stand at this point?
Frank's here, Frank Ularic, excuse me, Frank, that our Public Works Department originally, when he took on the responsibility of looking at some of these things, so I think he'll be able to answer your questions in this regard.
This particular issue and the location of the Huddle agreement has nothing to do with the petroleum remediation. The
Okay.
next item, I believe, on some of the three covenants that we're finalizing related to public JPA property, there's some portion of that that still has that small piece of petroleum remediation ongoing. But for the Huddle project, there is no petroleum impact or restrictions.
Okay, so I'm asked my question too soon.
We'll answer it anytime. But the dollar amount, actually, I want to say 7.2 is budgeted.
Right.
And 6-ish has been spent to date. We'll-
Okay, so you only have $1 million left then, huh?
1.2 thereabouts for cleanup of the altar, the final altar property, and any long-term maintenance requirements on the petroleum plume, which we think is adequately funded.
Okay, so you don't think it'll be more than another $1 million?
I can't say for 100% certainty, but we're pretty confident that we're on budget.
Okay. Do you have a plan B?
A plan B. Well, I guess we're sticking with our confidence. By all investigations and evidence out there, we don't see that there would be a need for a plan B. In the
Okay.
worst case scenario, we'll continue to monitor the petroleum more than a couple years, but there's no driving force for a plan B at this point or in the foreseeable future, honestly.
Okay. There's no change in what DEQ or NDEQ required? Or-
Well, if anything, DEQ is going to be more flexible. They got a new policy out on allowing closure of sites with some level of petroleum in place that presents no risk. So honestly, it'll, if anything, move to more lenient closure requirement.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Jane. Is there further public comment? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve WH 1520?
So move.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Further discussion? If not, call the roll.
Beitler,
Yes?
Eskridge, Claire.
Yes.
Resolution stands approved. Agenda item number 7, Resolution WH 1521, relating to the execution of closing documents. Mr. Pale.
Again, this resolution is here to authorize the mayor as chair of the JPA to execute closing documents on the conveyance of the property TP Phase 3. I think we're looking at closing next Thursday, the 5th. And so we're dealing with the title company to get various documents prepared that they'll have us sign. We do have a special warranty deed that's been agreed to with TDB Phase 3 for the sale of the property. And the memorandum of redevelopment agreement use restrictions that needs to be filed to record as well. And the Skywalk Bridge easement for construction of the skywalk connecting the Huddle site to the parking garage. So just asking approval of this and authorizing the mayor to execute the closing documents as necessary.
Questions of Rick? Okay, is there public comment on agenda item number 7? If not, is there a motion for approval of WH 1521?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Further comment? Call the roll.
Beitler,
Yes?
Eskridge,
Yes.
Claire.
Yes.
The resolution stands approved. Agenda item number 8, Resolution WH 1522, again relating to the execution of environmental covenants. And again, our counselor, Mr. Pale.
These are the 3 environmental covenants that NDEQ is asking the JPA to execute on JPA-owned property. There's 3 of those. The first one, Lot 1, West Haymarket Second Edition, is the lot north of the Huddle site. It's kind of a standalone environmental covenant because initially we were looking at it being both this property and the Huddle site until we didn't think we'd be able to get the NDEQ approval in timely, so we split it up, and now TDP Phase 3 is going to do the covenant on the Huddle site. Lot 1, Block 4 is the West Haymarket addition is a Red One parking garage site. It's standing alone because NDQ desired the properties that had the plume on them to be identified separately as to environmental covenants, because those properties have a couple additional activity and use restrictions. And so they felt it would be cleaner to have that spelled out as a separate document. And the last one picks up the rest of the JPA-owned properties, including the Green 3 parking garage, the Blue 2 parking garage, and the DEC building site, and then other vacant JPA-owned land within this east flank. And that would be basically north of O Street and east of Pinnacle Bank Drive. So, yeah, these would be identical type terms and conditions.
Thank you, Rick. Questions of Rick? Okay, is there public comment on agenda item number 8? If not, is there a motion to approve WH 1522?
So
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Further comment? Call the roll.
Beitler,
Yes?
Eskridge.
Yes.
Claire.
yes.
Resolution's approved. Agenda item number 9, WH 1523, a resolution relating to the energy service agreement between the JPA and District Energy. Chris Connell is helping us with this one.
Thank you. 9 and 10 are related. Number 9 relates to the agreement between the DEC and the JPA back in 2011, wherein DEC constructed the energy plant in the West Haymarket area, but the JPA ends up controlling all the output coming off of that plant. And what we've done since that time is each time a new project has come online, we've amended that agreement to show the new project. And so in this case, we're adding the Huddle project onto the agreement between the DEC and the JPA to show that Huddle will be getting served thermal energy. So there's no financial impact either way on this resolution, and so we just ask for your approval of this resolution.
Financial impact would be positive, wouldn't it?
Well, not on this one. On the actual energy service agreement, there will be, certainly.
Right.
But in the agreement between DEC and JPA, there's no direct there. We're just simply adding another project onto the agreement there.
Gotcha, okay.
Additional questions of Chris? Okay, thank you. Public comment on this item? If there's no public comment, is there a motion to approve WH 1523?
So moved.
Second,
Been moved and seconded. Further discussion? Call the roll.
Beitler,
Yes?
Eskridge.
Yes.
Claire.
yes.
Resolution stands approved. Agenda item number 10, WH 1524. Approving and otherwise dealing with the execution of the customer energy services agreement. Again, Chris.
Thank you. This is the fun stuff. This is the agreement where we do provide thermal energy services for the Huddle project. And each new customer that comes online helps bring down the cost for paying for the thermal energy plant in the West Haymarket area. And so, excuse me, the term is for 35 years, such as it is with the other customers. And the financial impact is going to be very good on this because the rate that will be given to Huddle will result in savings to both the private sector and the arena as they are paying for the financial portion of their rate. The savings to the arena is expected to be about $125,000 a year. Now, we don't have a fixed, that's not entirely fixed yet because the project size has gone from 150,000 square feet, which is what we're initially analyzing it for. It's now gone up to 168,000 square feet. That still could change between now and the time that they actually finish construction. But $125,000 a year is what we expect to save for the arena each year on the finance side. The private sector customers are expected to save about $60,000 a year. So there's savings all around for everyone.
Collectively.
For them collectively, correct,
Yeah.
not $60,000 per customer, that's correct. And so there's still, there's savings all around, and as new projects come online, those costs per year will continue to drop for everyone. So I ask your approval for this contract.
Good news. Carl?
Yeah. It is good news. And what's the percentage, I guess, of our capacity with the current plan? Is there more that we can do to bring other people that
Oh,
on the
yes.
north part of that block or other buildings in the area that could help?
Yeah, the plant has a capacity of roughly 4 million square feet, and we are currently at around 1 million square feet.
Okay, so a lot of.
So there's
yeah.
a lot of capacity there that we can use.
Great.
Any other questions? Thank you, Chris. Is there public comment? on
Well, one other thing, when you say the
agenda item
Huddle
10?
building, it's the Huddle Nelnet building, right? Now, it's not just Huddle, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
It's the TDP Phase 3 project. And I think we've been generally referring to it as Huddle, but you're right, it's Huddle on Nelnet.
Okay.
Okay, is there public comment on agenda item number 10? If not, is there a motion to approve WH 1524?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Call the roll.
Beitler,
Yes,
Eskridge.
Yes.
Claire.
Yes.
resolution's approved. Without objection, the next meeting date will be Thursday, November 19th, 2015 at 3:30 PM in the City County Building, first floor, Bill Luxford Studio. Is that okay with you, gentlemen?
It is. I guess might be appropriate to say this is the Bill Luxford studio, and Bill is kind of the reason why this is all here, and he passed away this week, and so we certainly wish his family well.
Very good. All right, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Moved and seconded to
Second.
adjourn? Call the roll.
Beitler,
Yes,
Eskridge.
Yes.
Claire.
Yes.
we are adjourned.